Welcome everyone to Train Tuesday. I am your host Jim Wiggin and so glad to have you on board. If you are catching us on the live, we'll say some shout outs here in a little bit. If you're catching us on YouTube, thank you for finding us. If you like the content in which you are seeing right now, feel free to give us a like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. That way you're notified every time a new video like this drops into our channel. Well, we're going to be talking a little bit of everything here tonight. We're going to be talking N-scale trailers. And for you N-scale guys out there, these are brand spanking new, so you're going to want to stay tuned for that. We're also going to be talking about some containers. So let's go ahead and start out with some shout outs. So I see Sid, Jeffrey, Ronald, EMP, Railroad 93 is here. Michael, Brody, Ronald, John, DG Model Works is in the house. George, Ronald, Randall, and Jason, just to name a few. So thank you for joining us here tonight on Train Tuesday. Man, I don't know about you, but where I'm at, it's a whopping total of -3. And I know our friends down south in Texas, Louisiana, Florida, they're seeing snow and ice and rain and just, yeah. Well, it's a good idea to stay indoors and work on our model railroads, and that's what I have for you tonight. So if tonight maybe you're working on your layout, hopefully we've got some things that you're going to be interested in. So I also see Anthony, Benjamin, Charles, and Ted, Delta 9, Cody, and John, just to name a few. Thank you for joining us here tonight. And let's get started with another Train Tuesday. Now, N-scale guys, I told you this is going to be for you. These are the N-scale 45-foot Fruehauf trailers. Now, these are brand new. Now, the one that I'm showing you on your screen right now, these aren't even in stock yet. These are brand new. In fact, when I did the new announcements video, we didn't even have pictures of those yet. These are that new. In fact, we just took pictures of these last week. Now, if you're going to be at the Springfield Railroad Hobby Show, you're going to want to check these out because I will have them at the booth, all 4 of them. But I wanted to bring these for you tonight because we're going to be doing another run. So not only can you pick these up in a few weeks, you can also pre-order the roads that we're going to talk about tonight. In fact, let me share with you so there you have it. Quick picture of my end track layout with 3 of the 4. So there you have it. I've got a 4th one. Barely could see it, but it's back there on the layout. And we'll talk about these. Sparky, come on now. I just showed you the picture. So there you have it. Now, if you want to see them up close and personal, then you can definitely come by the booth. Hopefully, I'll see you guys there. But let's talk about now the ones that we're going to be announcing. So like I said, this one here, ATH 13834, they're going to be available here in the next few weeks. We just took pictures of them, and we're going to, well, hopefully by the time we get back from Amherst, they're going to start shipping. We'll see. Let's talk about what we're going to be offering for this run for pre-order. Now, last week I did talk about the history of these. If you N-scale guys weren't here for that, briefly, these were originally Z-Van trailers, and originally they were 40-foot. Later on, and we've talked about this many times as to why trailers grew in size, but in the late 70s, 45-footers started to become the norm. Now, a lot of these trailers were originally 40 and then were stretched to 45. Some were built from the top down as 45-foot trailers, and refrigeration equipment was often available. Now, there was kind of an evolution of these trailers. The first construction of these trailers, they were rib-sided trailer versions, and then they proceeded to the beaded side construction, and then the ones that we're talking about tonight, the smooth side versions. These smooth side versions are the most modern. Now, keep in mind, some of the roads that I'm showing you tonight, they are stand-ins, but I'll let you know which ones are stand-ins, and really in N scale, 3 feet. I can go grab my ruler over there if you want to see what 3 feet in N scale looks like. It's pretty minuscule. So these are great stand-ins for you N scale guys. So first up, we've got our first stand-in. This is a late 1990s era Burlington Northern Santa Fe. This is the old Circle Cross. This is before they came out with their current logo from 2005 onward. Now, technically, these were 48-foot trailers, but again, we're talking 3 feet in N scale. Unless you've got your N scale ruler with you, it's going to be really hard to determine. So this is a great stand-in for you guys that are modeling an N scale in the 1990s. 80s guys, the Union Pacific, I wanted to offer this one. This was popular when we offered this in the 40-foot. It's now available in the 45-foot. And again, if you're a modeler of the 1980s, you're going to want to pick up one of these. Also, we're going to be offering Kansas City Southern. Now, this is a stand-in as well. This is typically a 48-foot trailer. However, again, 3 feet in N scale. This is a great stand-in. And if you're like me and you're active in N-Track, most people viewing these from a distance aren't going to call you out on that 3 feet of missing trailer. Coming up next, we have some Illinois Central. Again, this is a stand-in. Typically, the Death Star logo was featured on the 48-foot trailers, but it has been one that's been requested in both HO and N scale, so we wanted to offer it as a stand-in for you guys. 1980s and 1970s guys, we've got you covered. There is the Seaboard system, and of course, the late 1970s era Norfolk and Western. Really great models to add. If you're like me and you're modeling the 1970s, 1980s, you're going to want to add one or two of these to your module, to your layout, whatever it is you are modeling. Now, let's go back to our Burlington Northern example, which will be available here soon, and talk about the features of these. So these are going to have separately applied mud flaps. Doesn't sound like a big deal until you see how big those mud flaps are in N scale. I'm glad somebody else did it for me. Rubber tires, of course. Highly detailed injection molded body. Remember, this is brand new tooling N scale guys. The HO scale guys have had this model for a while. Now you guys have it as well. And these are painted and printed for the most realistic decoration as possible. Now, that Burlington Northern that you see on your screen, I've actually got it here on my layout. And I'm going to attempt to show you some of the updates on this model here. Go ahead and grab him. Now, the camera is really not going to do it justice, but look at the printing. Again, the Burlington Northern ones are going to be available in the next coming weeks. Other thing I want to mention, if you notice the tractor landing gear, on the N scale models, these can be in the retracted position, or in this case, I've got them in the extended position because it was up against my warehouse. Also, your bogies are positionable. In fact, I can even slide that off. And you can't really see it. The camera's not going to do it justice, but these mud flaps look amazing. You can actually read the logo. You probably can't do it because my camera, again, does just not do it justice. But yeah, you can read those under magnification. Now, when they come to you from the factory, they're going to come in our new packaging. They're going to come in the neat jewel case. We are putting the pictures on the end so you know which one it is. Road names and such are on there. And the other thing is inside here is two different types of tractor legs. Again, you can have them in the retracted position, so if it's on a tractor trailer, or you can have them extended if it's at a warehouse or any other scene on your layout. For me, as you saw with the N-track layout, I've got 3 of them at my distribution center. So these are just jam-packed with detail. Again, all brand new tooling. I'm really impressed with these. And the amazing fact is you can read all of the lettering on these under magnification. So all the lettering is on there. Some great details. Highly suggest if you're into N scale and you're modeling the 70s and 80s, even into the 90s, go ahead and grab some of these. And even if you're modeling modern day N scale, keep in mind, if you read our newsletter last week, I talked about some of these 45-foot trailers. You still see them occasionally being used as storage, a tool shed, storage on somebody's private property. Farmers typically will use some old trailers for storage. I've even seen them out here in Illinois being used as billboards parked by the highway. So there's all kinds of creative uses for these trailers, whether it be an HO or N scale. But there you have it. These are going to be in here soon. And while we're at it, you've got till Friday the 24th to pick up the pre-orders on the ones that we talked about tonight. So before we go on to the next thing, let's see what kind of questions you have. What kind of questions you may have on the N-scale trailer, since this is brand new. Let's see, I'm going to go back a little bit to see what kind of questions we've got. A lot of people are, John says, nice to see some N-scale. Well, remember, we have invested a lot in tooling in the last 2 to 3 years in N-scale. A lot of it is now coming in. Charles likes that clip trailer, looks nice. Yes, it does. I would agree. Sparky's just catching up, slow feed. Yeah, that's acceptable. I get it. Didn't really show like I wanted it to. I was hoping it would show in a bigger picture originally. Let's see what other questions. James, there's always a naysayer out there. Settle down. We're going to do those too. You probably noticed one of our product developers is watching. Our product developers do watch these live feeds. I'm not the only Athearn guy on here. They're probably working on 2 or 3 different things as we speak, but they are watching these. They want to see what kind of reactions we get. Yeah, there's definitely more paint schemes we're going to do in the future. So don't worry if you didn't see your paint scheme or you don't like those stand-ins, just wait around. It's brand new tooling. We're going to do a lot more of those. And see, he's already got the suggestions. So Indiana James Costello, you can send us a product suggestion email. If our product developer hasn't told you that already, you can send your suggestions over at Athearn-product suggestions at Athearn.com. And no, I don't pick the road names. I think I had a guy at a train show one time totally extremely mad with me because I didn't pick his road name for a latest development thing. I don't pick the road names. I just market and help sell this product. Our product developers get that mainly from Athearn product suggestions. We also get that from sales forecast too. We had another complaint today that we do a lot of Southern Pacific. Well, quite frankly, Southern Pacific sells. And since we are a business, we are going to keep doing Southern Pacific, Union Pacific, Norfolk Southern, all those other lines that sell well. But we're still open to suggestions, so feel free to give us an email at Athearn-product suggestions at Athearn.com. Let's see what else we got, and then we're going to go on to the next one. Terry says, these are pretty amazing for N-scale. I agree. For years, I was kind of limited with trailers. There are some fine manufacturers out there. But Athearn has definitely stepped up the game on these, and they're affordable as well. All right. Let's see what else we've got, and then I'm going to go on to HO. James says, regardless, great to see these finally available after a couple of years. Yeah, you're right. It's been a couple of different, about almost 2 years, not quite. I'd have to look. But this was all new tooling. And this was something that N-scalers, including myself, was asking for. So we're really happy. And you know what? The other thing is it kind of opens the door for you as well if you really want to. We've got a video on removing logos and print from our models over at our YouTube channel. And fortunately for us, there are decal companies that can help fill the void if you're willing to put in some time and effort with that. All right. Let's go on to our next item. So these next items here are the HO scale 53-foot Jindo container. Now, the one that you see currently on your screen, this is ATH 28996. It's currently available. So if you're in the need of containers, these are available at your Athearn dealer right now. Again, the item number, it's on the screen, but just in case you're listening while you're working on that last lift ring on your HO scale locomotive, it's ATH 28996. ATH 28996. Now let's talk about what we're going to be offering in this run. So first up, now these are all going to be in their traditional Athearn 3-packs. We're going to be offering EMP. Now, if you notice, these are former Pacer stack trains. So these are EMPs, but they've been kind of patched out. And again, this is what you would see in the real world. We're also going to offer RL carriers. Again, we tried to pick some contemporary names, again, based on suggestions from Athearn's email. And also, all of our product developers have all that sales data. They can see what road names sell the best. Now, here's one that a lot of guys are excited about. And it's really kind of cool to see more south of the border railroads stuff. And we have people that are proud to support it. So I'm glad to see the Fruehauf. Now, you folks down in Texas that are braving the snow and cold, let me know in the comments. Let's see if I pronounced it correctly this time. It's hard to teach an old Yankee new tricks. One that I'm sure all of us are familiar with, and that is the Triple Crown. Now, this is one of the cooler paint schemes, in my opinion. Trailer bridge, really cool. I believe we've done this one in the past. I'm not sure if we've done it on this container, but this is one. Let me know in the comments if you've seen this one. I have yet to catch this on my rail fanning trips, but it really cool paint scheme. Reminds me of a certain quarterback, and that's not just because I'm from New England, but it's really a cool paint scheme. Next, we're going to offer COFC Logistics, another one that's real common. And here's one that is kind of new for us to do. I really like this one because if you look carefully, you can see it's a former UMAX, former CSX. That's now CSX stacks. You can see it's kind of been patched, a little bit faded out. Not too drastic, not technically prime for grime, but pretty close. And again, this is what you see when you go rail fanning modern day. So again, these are mainly contemporary containers. And then last, you got C.H. Robinson. So there you have it. Now, our product developers, not only are they sitting behind a desk all day designing new projects, but to prove that I'm not making things up, here's Janik. He is one of our lead product developers with some interesting information for you guys at Contemporary Model Railroading. And this is kind of sad because I don't live far from where the road railers used to come through. But as of August 2024, Norfolk Southern has discontinued its Triple Crown road railer service. Now they have those XEMP containers. So keep that in mind, especially Norfolk Southern guys. See, one thing you don't know about Janik is he is a huge rail fan. Not only is he active in Fremo, He is a huge rail fan. And some of the pictures that we use for our containers, a lot of our intermodal equipment, it all comes from Janik. He does a lot of research on these. So Charles says, hey, I like those CSX stacks. Those are nice. Yes. Yes, those are really cool. Let's see what else that we've got here. Stephen, I will get back to you in a little bit. Now let's go back to these and, CSX containers available now at your dealer. I put the item number on there for you and some of the features of these. These are all new road numbers. So even roads that we've done previously with these containers, these are new numbers, so you don't have to worry about duplicates. And of course, you already know they're fully assembled, they're easily stackable, and each container in there is individually numbered. Nobody cheats. Every single one of those containers in that 3-pack is individually numbered and unique, so you don't have to worry about that. Now you can see all of that if you go to athearn.com and select the new announcements tab and look for the PDF for these containers. Likewise, you can also look at See More, which is all of the containers being sold, and you can see in the description as well as the details all the different road numbers. Now, kind of going along with the same theme, we are also going to offer the 53-foot Jindo container and the chassis. Now, these are really cool. We've got some really interesting combinations here for you. And again, we're product development tried to find contemporary style road names for you. So let's show you what we're offering for this run. So the first three that we've got here, starting at the very top, we've got the Pacer stack train with the EMP container. So you've got a frame from the Pacer stack train, and your container is EMP. Likewise, that one in the middle, we've got the chassis as a BNSF. It's got the older circle cross, but we've got a trailer bridge container with it. Last but not least there, we've got Union Pacific, and there's a little bit going on here. This is a Union Pacific / DCLI, okay, with a COFC container. So former Union Pacific, now DCLI, and it's got the COFC container. But we're not done there. We've got a few more for you to choose from. Here's that one that a lot of guys were really interested in. We've got a CSX frame or trailer with a UMXU container. That one in the middle there, we've got a JB Hunt. That's going to have the Triple Crown container. And last but not least, we've got the Sea Castle. Let's go to Sea Castle chassis with the R&L container. So contemporary modelers in HO scale, you're going to want to check these out and pre-order one or more of these. Let's talk about the features of this set. Now, I personally like these sets because I don't have to build those chassis. There was a time, a long time ago, that this kind of stuff had to be assembled, and I'd rather work on other aspects of my model railroading rather than building these little frames. And so one of the great things about the chassis is they're fully assembled. Now, like the N scale, these are going to have razor sharp printing and painting. Again, a lot of the warning labels, a lot of the ownership labels, things of that nature, you can read it with magnification. It's really, really impressive. And of course, contemporary paint schemes, like I've been saying. Now, the 53-foot container models, these are much like the container models that we talked about just previously. They're all new road numbers, and they are separate from the ones that we talked about earlier, so there's no duplicates across those two. They're fully assembled, they're easy stackable, and each container is individually numbered. So again, the ones that come with these chassis, completely different than the ones that we talked about in the middle of the show. So you don't have to worry about duplicating road numbers. That's another thing that a lot of guys don't realize product development does. They keep records of all of those road numbers so that we don't have duplicating road numbers, because we know everybody out there If you're my age or older, you remember the old days of picking up multiple freight cars and taking the road numbers off and adding to it with decals. We don't want you to do that anymore. So there you have it, everything that we've talked about tonight and the Train Tuesdays starting at the very end of December till now. You have got until January 24th to place your pre-orders on all of these items. Now, one more thing I want to add to is as soon as I'm done here, I got to start packing. That's because Athearn is going to be at the Amherst Railway Society's Railroad Hobby Show. Now, we have moved. Years past, I believe we were in the Mallory building. We've moved this year to the Better Living Center. That's the big building that's kind of front and center of everything. We're going to be in booth number 32A. It's roughly in the middle of the building. And we're going to have a pretty good sized booth there. We're going to have products that are currently available at hobby shops. We're going to have some items like these 45-foot trailers that are going to be at your dealer soon. And we're also going to have some things that are going to be coming later in the year. We wanted to bring things that you guys have been asking about, projects that product development's been working on. Janet sent me a big box. It's already on its way to Massachusetts of some neat stuff that we're going to have samples of. And John is planning on bringing some samples of things that he's been working on. So stop by the booth, come talk to us, talk to myself, Mark, Robert, or John, and let's talk Athearn. And hopefully you'll get to have a chance to see some of the things that we've been working on. We're also hoping to give you some updates on some of the projects that you've been waiting on. We know there's a few things that have been hanging out there for a while. We're hopefully going to get some resolution on some of those things and give you some much needed updates. So there you have it. I've got time for some questions, and then I've got to go pack for the railroad show, the big one, the big E. So let's see what we've got here. Mr. Wagner says, Jim, will you be at the West Springfield show this Saturday and Sunday? I'm hoping to be there Saturday, but I'm not sure I'll be allowed to go. Hopefully you're allowed to go. If I do, I'll have questions for you and others. Well, we'll have answers. If you remember Radio Shack, that was their slogan. You got questions, we've got answers. If I can't answer it, the good news is I've got 2 product developers there, as well as the category manager who oversees everything that's going on at Athearn. Somebody will have an answer for you. And Stephen, it'll be great to meet you after so many years of seeing you. Let's see what else we've got in the questions. James wants to know any news on updating the shipping schedule on the website. I wish I did. I am fighting that battle with our web team, and I'm hoping that we're getting somewhere. Right now, I'm currently using the email newsletter that goes out weekly to kind of help you guys, because if you're like me, you have a budget. You want to know when stuff is coming in. And right now, I think the last update was stuff that's coming in March. Those are rough estimates, but at least gives you an idea of when these products are coming in. So if you haven't signed up for the Athearn newsletter, do yourself a favor and go ahead, go to the athearn.com, go to our website, sign up for the email newsletter, and I am trying to get as much news for you as possible. Let's see what else we've got for questions. Anthony wants to know any new product announcement Saturday, and if so, what time? Don't have anything for you as far as like when we released the SD60 at TrainFest. I don't have anything for you. Trust me, though, both our lead product developers are busy with some big announcements that are going to come throughout 2025. The big announcement for us at Amherst is basically showing you some of the projects that we've been talking about that you haven't seen yet, and that's what we're hoping to show you at the show. This is a question I've been getting ever since November, and it's a fair question. Michael Fedora asks, will the tariffs be attacking model train equipment? I'm not sure if attacking is quite the right nomenclature there, but will it be affecting? Well, as you know, the current administration, as of yesterday, has been talking about tariffs from countries outside of the United States or manufactured goods from outside the United States. Now, of course, most of you know our decoders are made domestically. However, our product is made in factories overseas. And sure, that's going to impact us. Now, it's too early to tell how that's going to impact us, but we will be as transparent as possible about those price increases should they occur. It's like anything else. You got to roll with the punches sometimes. But yeah, there's probably a chance that we're going to have to somehow work on our business model to reflect those changes. Let's see what else we've got. Good questions so far tonight. Now, I will say if you got questions on new projects, um, things that you'd like to see, I won't answer those tonight. Those are best with our product suggestion email. Let's see. I know there's some folks. It looks like Janik has responded to a few folks. Yes, we have had some cancellations. Now, again, I think I told you guys probably the beginning of last year we were going to be tightening up our orders with our factory. Our parent company Horizon has asked us to not have as much excess inventory. This is more dependent now on pre-orders than ever before. So we're asking our customers and our dealers to place pre-orders within that 30-day time window. Now, anytime that we do announce something and we don't get enough orders, when we find out that it's not fiscally responsible for ourselves to produce that model, we would actually lose money making just a few models for a few people, we will cancel them. And unfortunately, that is kind of the rules of business. We don't like to do it. I can guarantee you our product developers don't like to do it because they've invested a lot of time and energy into the research and all of the work that they've done on those models. I don't like it because I spent a lot of time marketing and working with our sales team to produce them. But at the end of the day, if we don't get enough pre-orders, we're forced by the hand to cancel those orders. Now, we're doing everything in our power to make sure that you know about the pre-orders and you know the dates on the pre-orders. We're also working hard with our corporate web team to get the website updated. And like I said, we don't like to do cancellations, but there are times when we announce a model and we just don't get enough orders that we do have to cancel it. Pre-orders are very important. That's right. If you want to get something. Let's see what else we've got here. Any hints on Friday? Yeah, I'm going to be setting up the booth. Any hints on Friday? Yeah. Something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue. I know that's overused a lot, but that's true. We've got a new Athearn Genesis model that we have done before in the past, but we haven't done certain variations of it. And it's appropriate that one of the new model variants of it is going to be in Conrail, so I can tell you that. I will let you know that it's so new that our artists didn't have time to fully complete the drawings. So when you see the drawings on Friday on our new announcements, keep in mind that is not the finished product. We are working diligently with our factory to get those drawings updated and accurate. Trust me, they're going to be accurate. So yeah, there is something new coming on Friday. So stay tuned for that. Remember, our videos drop in our YouTube channel. They drop in our YouTube channel about 7:15 Central Time Friday, and the website is usually soon thereafter. Jason True says, Jim, you did pronounce And see, now I'm going to mess it up because she said I pronounced it Ring Gold last week, and Lafayette is pronounced Lafayette. So how is Terre Haute pronounced? That's what I want to know, because if you watch some old television shows, they call it Terre Haute. I don't know. Dan wants to know, Jim, in the future, do you think Athearn can make unnumbered locomotive and rolling stock so we can number them ourselves? We've actually done that a few times, not just undecorated, but we have offered locomotives that were done up and didn't have any road numbers. We offered a GP7U last year in that situation. And it actually sold really well from what I can tell. And we have experimented with the freight cars. Believe it or not, the sales on those have been 50-50. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. So we haven't really jumped into it full force. I can tell you though, Friday we're going to be offering something that's unlettered. And keep in mind too, our postal cars that we offered this month, the Athearn HO scale baggage cars rather, those are available and unlettered. They're painted but unlettered. Let's see what else we've got. You had Terre Haute right the first time. That's interesting. Somewhere I saw that somebody, and it was on a television show. They kept calling it Terre Haute, and I'm like, I may be from New England, but I don't think it's pronounced that way. Thomas with a good suggestion. He says, speaking of that, meaning the website, it would be nice to have a section of past models on the website. I thought you had one, but don't seem to keep up for people to have more info and many reasons. Well, Thomas, you are correct. The old website had two things. You could see models that had been produced before. Currently, the way the website is, you can look at retired models that have no longer, been sold out and not available. But that only goes back so far. Originally, we were supposed to have 20 years back. I found out recently that they, for reasons unknown to me, they only went back 5 years. If you're like me, I've got locomotives that go back a lot further than 2020. So we are working to get that updated. Also, the archive is another way that we showed off product that is being updated. I can tell you, I use that for my newsletter. The web team is slowly updating the archive so you can go back a number of years and look at announcements from years past. But work in progress. Not fast enough for me, but Being Green 1970 says, I do appreciate the newsletter and the recent heads up on the GP38-2s coming soon. If I may ask, any word on the CA11s? I believe they are working hard to get the HO and the N scale ones out by the end of 2025. So we're talking next winter is probably when we're going to see them. I do know that John has given me pictures of some updates and some samples that he's been working on. So we might see them sooner than that, but I'm going to play it safe and say probably late fall, early winter of next year. Let's see what other questions we have, and then I'm going to let you guys get back to some model railroading and staying warm, probably. Jason is going to help me when I get to Chattanooga in 2026, and he thinks I'm not going to take him up on this offer. I will help you pronounce some of the towns around here. I'm going to look you up, Jason, and you're going to be, you can, if you're a local to that area, you can be a certified New England translator. That way, when I talk and your local folks don't know what Jim's saying, you can translate for me. In all seriousness, yeah, I appreciate it. I am not an expert when it comes to regional names. Michael says, thanks for the excellent program tonight. You are more than welcome. Please remember, it is more than just me. It's a team behind me, the guys that you don't see. We wouldn't be anywhere if it wasn't for our product development staff that are working tirelessly to make new models for you and new road names for existing models. And of course, my boss, who somehow Not sure if it's a privilege or not. Somehow he makes sure we're all doing the right things at the right time. I think his technical Athearn name is Herding Cats, but it's a team. It's not just me. So thank you for that. Bradley, this is a very unique suggestion. I can't promise you that it'll happen, but just because it's so unique, I'm going to put it up there. Nike has a feature on their website where you can design a pair of shoes and they custom build them and ship them to the customer. Athearn could do that with paint schemes. Boy, that would be cool. I don't know if we could do that. And I'm thinking now, if I go over to Nike and I make a Burlington route themed sneaker or a Boston to Maine themed sneaker, I wonder what that would cost. But that's kind of cool. I didn't know that. Thanks for that suggestion. I'm not sure we'll be able to implement that. Maybe in the future, though. It's a great idea. Update on the Genesis 39-2s and D&H. Yes, we are looking at a current ETA of late spring, early summer. As that date gets closer, we'll know better. That's where the factory has told me they're at this point. We should be seeing some pictures later in the spring when they get real close. Just a reminder, if you go to our website or you see pictures on our newsletter, that means that we've gotten the same production samples that will be in stock. They ship those to us by air so that we can get all of the marketing done on those. And it's usually about 6 to 8 weeks before the rest of the product shows up on our shores and is shipped to our DC. So remember, when you see pictures, you're only going to be waiting weeks versus months or years. Let's see, one more question, and then I'm going to let you guys get back to it. And boy, hope most of you guys are staying warm. Most of the country is quite cold right now. Sid is tempting me with Buckeye candy. I already know what that is, and it's dangerous. Let's end with Monroe Montague. Will we see other SP Steam like Half Daylight or P10s, just for example? Nothing too soon on that. One of the things that we do here is people want more medium to small steam, and we're going to be catching up on some projects because right now, as you know, there's some projects that we've been working on. We want to get those delivered first, and once we get those projects delivered, we're looking at new things such as that. And Steam guys, we've heard you. There's definitely a demand out there for small and medium Steam, and we're going to be looking into some things. Now, keep in mind, as a Steam modeler, it's even harder to deliver a Genesis steam locomotive than it is a Genesis diesel. That being said, that's because a lot of railroads not only kept each steam locomotive as a very individual piece. You know, a Union Pacific steam locomotive would be quite different than, say, a Santa Fe or a Frisco. So it makes the product development job that much harder. So there's a lot of time investment in it, and we have to be very careful on which locomotives we choose. We're going to try to pick something in the future that works for the broadest base. And then hopefully from there, we can kind of fine tune it from there. But we have heard you, Steam guys. And then finally, Charles says, "Hey Jim, will you have a show here on Friday?" Um, Not on Friday. Since last year, we started doing the new announcement videos as pre-recorded. In fact, I shot those today, and those will be on our YouTube channel. They automatically download onto the YouTube channel on Fridays at 7:15 a.m. Will I be doing a show from the show? That's really hard. Last year we had 26,000 people show up at the Amherst show or the Railroad Hobby Show, and myself and everybody else, we couldn't get away. In fact, we had some folks say, "Hey, why aren't you guys doing something live?" Mark and I attempted to do something live, and we just got inundated with folks asking questions, which is fine. That's why we're there. But if I can get a chance, definitely I want to get some stuff out there for you guys. I can't promise anything because if it's busy, 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 it's really hard to escape and get some live feeds in there. But pay attention to our social media, and you may see some new things come across your screen. All right. Well, with that, I'm going to let you guys get back to it. Make sure the space heater is plugged in and it's away from flammable objects, and relax for the rest of the night by doing some model railroad goodness. Until next time, everyone, I want everybody to be happy, be healthy, be safe, be warm, do some good modeling, and above all, high grades. Take care, everyone.